Hello, and welcome to Forsaken Podcast. I'm Grim Reaper, joined here by Rygothrin
Hello.
and Magic.
Hey, how we doing?
Ooh, not a very energetic start there, guys. Anything I can do to help?
No, not really. I mean, I woke up not too long ago, so we're all good.
Yeah, me too.
Had a nice little nap.
Oh, okay, fair enough. God, the Forsaken Lands. It's a realm of high fantasy. Many a story has been told, many a tale has been written and woven and connected to the internet and logged into by us, and we played it. So, in that, I mean, what are some of the foundation stories that you like about this game? What are some of the coolest parts of it? Rygo, I'm looking your way.
I can't really think off the top of my head of any good stories that I can recall. Anyways, there's lots of good stories. Not to say that there's not, but off the top of my head, I can't think of any that stick out to me as my favorite.
Okay, nice. Try not using the top of your head. Try using the inside of your head where your brain is.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Aggressive today, aren't we, Grim?
But yeah, I don't know. I got nothing. Sorry.
Remember the time when all the fairies got sick and died?
Like now?
What's going on with that? How did that happen?
I know my favorite time of the Valmiran plot was probably my favorite time in FL as far as lore, and well, the one that I was involved in, of course, the only one that matters. I had a ton of fun during that, and I thought it was awesome. But as far as the lore or whatever, I don't know. There's so much. There's a bunch of cool stuff. It's just, I don't know, hard for me to pick one specific topic.
It's understandable. It's very understandable. Magic, you got anything that stands out? Anything that you like?
Well, everybody, or at least old times, at least remembers the time when all the shades were running around Valmir and wreaking havoc and whatnot. You'd walk through Valmir and you'd get jumped by 2 or 3 shades, and they'd morph to match your level, or just absolutely cream you for the occasional 1 or 2. It was hell, but everybody loved that hell.
That brings a whole new meaning to the term throwing shade.
In a manner of speaking, yes, it does.
Yeah, I don't see that going over very well. Like
today, probably not.
Today, yeah, especially.
Oh my God, you have so many whiny. Well, I don't want to say whiny, but people that are concerned bring it up on the forum. Why did this happen? I just died. Delete.
Yeah, imagine running through Valmiran trying to escape someone, and then you get caught by a shade, and then you get caught by the player and die. Yeah, they'd be pretty upset, probably, I assume.
That would really shake things up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it kind of brings up a point that death today does not mean the same thing as death did back then whenever we had all the shades. It seems like now death means more almost than it did then. Then it was like, I don't know, it was kind of normal. You expected to die. It was going to happen. You expected to be looted. It was going to happen, and people still raged, but I felt like it wasn't as much maybe as it is today. And it seems like with less players, it's more personal, maybe, and that drives people to get obviously emotional and get pissed off about it. But yeah, I don't see that going over well today.
And death today isn't nearly as damning as it was back in the day, because I remember once upon a time it wasn't uncommon to get everything taken from you when you died. Now it seems a rarity to get anything taken from you when you die.
Yeah, it's I mean, I wouldn't call it necessarily a rarity, but it's definitely more rare than it was before. I think, yeah, I don't know. I think that there's just
people are a lot nicer when they're looting people now. I mean, they only take what they take, or they only sack a few items in order to prevent people from coming back time and time again. It's gotten a lot more friendly, whereas back in the day you would get looted or expect to get entirely full looted with every death. It doesn't matter if you were running around in an entire god suit or mithril gear, you were expected to get looted full every time.
Yeah, but I also think that kind of controls the culture of today as well, where people are typically nicer. So whenever someone does actually do something that doesn't appear to be within that vein of the culture, people flip out about it. Like, why did they do this? This isn't right, that kind of thing.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we got rid of random rares crumbling because of complaints for that.
Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, things have definitely changed, and while the shade plot was cool, yeah, I can definitely see that why it wouldn't work today, anyways, or maybe it would. I mean, I don't know. I just don't see it working the
Do you think
same
we
way.
should go back to full loot culture? Like, it's just going to take one player to turn the tide and just start full looting?
Well, you
If we
can't.
if we did that, then, or if somebody did that, there would be complaints everywhere.
It's not illegal, though.
No, it's not. But you'd have a lot of upset people
It's a
running
culture
around.
thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice. It's like, dude, why are you being a dick? Or I'm going to do it. I'm never coming back. I mean, we've got so
Yeah.
few number of people nowadays. I mean, what 20, 30, 40, somewhere in that range of people who actively, chat on Discord and whatnot. So, I mean, yeah, you do that, you take out half, and we're in a worse position than previous.
It's just weird how the culture changed itself over the years without anything. You know what I mean? Like, it happened, like, organically. Isn't that kind of strange? Did that just come with age and maturity, or what?
I'm pretty sure it's age, growing up, having kids. I mean, we were all like teens and in our early 20s went back whenever FL was brand new. So we're all kind of a-holes maybe, or at least a little less thoughtless. It seems like now we actually consider people. Not everyone does, but a lot of people do. They actually consider the player rather than, just being a dick to be a dick.
Yeah, it's kind of an amazing transformation, you know?
I suppose getting old does that.
Yeah, maybe I'll show my youth at heart by beginning to full loot everybody that I come across. Who knows? If I can get a PK in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you need to kill somebody first.
I've earned it, okay? I can take whatever I want. I've earned it at this point. No, just kidding. I get plenty of PKs.
Yeah, so lore aside, I gotta say my favorite zone. My favorite zone is definitely Emerald Forest, or I guess Everwild Forest
Everwild.
these days. Yeah, it's definitely my favorite zone. Anytime I'm in that area, it takes me back to whenever I was very young.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if it's my favorite, but like, it's probably the most nostalgic area because I remember cutting my teeth on FL, like making it to Emerald Forest to level, having a group of people take me around. I had no idea what was going on. I'm like, wow, this is awesome, and waiting.
Okay, a question for you is, when you were ranking in Emerald Forest when you first got there, where was it?
It was.
Oh gosh.
It was.
I can't even remember.
Because when I first started with Forsaken Lands, it was just off the trail to Offpole.
Okay.
You'd go south out of Elmira, and you'd go through the Darkshire Woods, and it would be off one of the side trails on the way down to the Offpole.
My
it
first
was south.
exposure. Go ahead. Sorry.
So I was gonna say it was south of Miravor when I started playing it.
Yeah, whenever I don't remember FL. I mean, whenever I played before FL on AR, I don't remember then either. But that's whenever I was first introduced to Emerald Forest and the Boogum and.
Oh god, that Boogum! The Boogum, it had to be the mob with the most kills ever in Forsaken Lands history.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's like, if we want to talk about FL culture, I mean, getting rid of the Boogum was, I think, just one of the first steps and headed in that direction.
Yeah.
Because it was not newbie friendly, for sure.
Yeah, that allowed people to power level. The Boogum was kind of like like a stopgap of like, hey, like you can't really start power ranking up until you had to get some equipment before you could go in there. You couldn't just go in there all willy nilly. The boogeyman would kick your ass.
Or a decent group,
Yeah. Yeah, it was south of Miravore. I know the Shadow Woods south of Miravore changed a little bit, several years ago or whatever, but it was still kind of in the same place.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't like the was it Kashingal? Didn't that used to be goblins?
No,
Or kobolds?
Kashangal, well, might have been back when it was first introduced, but I know there was hobgoblins at the crossroads between Valmiran and Miravor, though, which then, as well as a gnome town, which turned into Raiden and Garandu.
Yeah, my memory
because
not that good.
Because the quest, you used to have to kill the goblin leader, for the whoops. Well, I guess that's quest info. Can I talk about that?
People used to getting a quest that's no longer there.
Oh,
Can you talk about that? I'm Grim. Come on.
Okay, I'm just trying to be careful.
Fair enough.
Yeah, well, yeah, there used to be, you had to do something over there and kill somebody that was some type of thing, I believe.
Yeah, you did. Everybody got the banded mail and trained on the hobgoblins there for a while too. In order, basically, they turned into the scarecrows of today.
Yeah, and like that cave with the ghosts. I mean, that's fairly new.
Yeah,
that's part of the Lost Woods that went in. Yeah.
And then that river wasn't there at the bottom of the Shadow Woods, like before.
That's all part of the Lost Woods there, bud.
Okay.
Speaking of that river is kind of awkward to me, just because there's no. I don't know. It's just a weird beginning and end. It just kind of appears and then it stops.
Yeah, it's more like a little stream, isn't it?
I guess like all the rivers are kind of like that. I guess you just got to use your imagination. They go on further, but
you just can't get there.
Yeah. It's a little weird.
I mean, take that river in Fallen Dare, for example. You've got one end that connects to the Dune Sea. In fact, those rooms named the Dune Sea or Dead Sea or whichever. And you go over there, but you don't actually have access to the to where the Dead Sea is, over where Healer Island and the CLK is.
Yeah, I wonder if it was intended to put that to
Probably.
connect those two areas.
That'd be cool if it did. I would like it for it to make some kind of geospatial sense,
It would be, but that has effect on PK, to making those kinds of changes. Adding
it does. But then again, if you went in there, how many people would realize where the hell you were to begin with?
I don't know. I'm not sure, but it does definitely have some effect.
E's being helpful over here. E's listening into the podcast today. It says Kasango used to be trolls and goblins, if he recalls, and then Dead Sea and Dune Sea. Yeah, well, they're two different seas, but we're talking about the one to the west, which should be the Dead Sea. I think the Dune Sea is to the right. I don't know. Whatever. One's on one side, one's on the other side. It's connected to the one on the west.
And let's not forget the Dragon Sea, which is on the far east, the far eastern sea, Dragon Sea.
Well, the point, connecting would be weird, but the point was it was the one to the west side of Abraham. So connecting them at some point would make sense. There's a thematic tie still right there.
Yeah, it would make sense if all three of them were connected somehow and all turned into one giant ocean somewhere. And across that ocean, if you purchased a ship with the shipwright ability, you put shipwrights in there, you can buy a ship, and you can sail to the other continent, which is full of brand new zones coming in 2025, something like that.
Oh, wow.
Man, Grim's writing checks that his ass can't cash.
Hey, look, that would be awesome, but also would severely affect PK. I mean, going from
dude, about
continent to continent. I mean, that would
there's more land to travel to PK. It's gonna be harder to chase somebody down. Maybe somebody will have a chance to run Like, all the vets have to learn a new path all of a sudden? Fucking cry me a river, dude. Seriously.
No, it's not that. It has to do with, I mean, with as little players as we have now, it's already can be hard enough to find someone, especially if they don't want to be found. Whenever you add in a completely another continent, a whole nother area system, I mean, you'll never see a certain person.
You heard it here first, folks. Rygo is afraid to learn a new land because he's afraid he's not going to get his PKs in.
That has nothing to do with anything.
No,
you are well aware of that, Grim.
Yeah, you're just making shit up.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
But no, don't get me wrong. I think it would be cool. It would be cool to have a whole nother continent and, a whole nother area of lore. And you could really kind of control the lore at that point because, as the creator, because whenever we came into FL, there was a bunch of lore behind everything, but at that point it would be all original.
Yeah, all original lore, like getting into that realm. I mean, 'cause most of it's mostly original now. There's only a couple of unoriginal zones, I think.
Speaking of new area, wasn't Zoe-chan supposed to get something going there?
What happened with that?
He said 2 months?
2 weeks? 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I think that was 3 weeks ago.
I think it was.
Are you calling Zoe-chan a liar?
Yes, actually. No, he put a deadline to the beginning of the year, and then it got pushed back to the second week of January, then the end of January, and now here we are 3 weeks into February. So yeah.
Rygo, have you heard from Zoe-chan? Do you have any info?
I've heard from Zoe-chan, yes, but not about the area. I haven't asked about it.
Do you feel that as a resident immortal, you should ask him about it?
Sure.
All right, you heard it here first, folks. Rygo is our champion of getting things done, asking the hard questions.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, he doesn't live too far away.
No, he doesn't. But far enough to where I won't drive there to ask him.
Well, what if we both drove there and knocked on his door and said, "Hey, you may or may not recognize us, but I think you recognize our voices from the Forsaken podcast every Thursday at 7:30 a.m."
Just take a microphone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he'll do a live podcast and knock on his door and do some of that like Michael Moore type reporting and ask him about off call.
Yeah, so that's a good segue into nobility and royalty, isn't it?
Now is off call? Now hang on, can off call? You think is that going to be hometownish? Is that going to be hometownable at some point?
I don't believe so.
How do you feel about hometowns? Do you think there should be more of them?
No, I think it's fine. Although I think it would be cool to have more race hometowns.
Like if each race at least had an option for their own unique hometown.
Yeah, but that would be cool, lore-wise. But again, it would affect PK.
I still think Arya and Galorium should be reintroduced for the Avians and Fairies respectively. I know people get lost on Mount Corrand, but tough shit.
That would be nice.
Oh my god, you need to learn the area. Like the Shadow Grove isn't confusing enough.
Shadow Grove is easy if you know how to actually navigate it.
Is the Shadow Grove changed based on what time of day it is?
No, it changes randomly per reset.
Really? You know how difficult it would be to get to area? Avian's Word of Recall becomes a safe teleport.
Yes. Yeah, that's why, making those hometowns, it would just be such a big advantage for Avians because they could just run and they would never have the worry that the recall lag would end, before they got the person trying to PK got to them. So, I mean, they wouldn't have that danger.
Okay, so if that's the case, then why are the ogres still in Merrick? Why do we have Deliverance? Why do we have...
Deliverance is, depending on where you're PKing, Deliverance is not hard to get to.
Neither is the Illithid Hive. But you've still got Merrick, which is the ogre hometown, which is literally the furthest from any civilization.
Right, but there's only 2 ways that you can go.
3.
If you can go in the other route.
There from Merrick, yes, there's 2 ways you can go, but that doesn't mean anything. You are able to start and run recall like hell. You can sleep and regen a whole bunch by the time they get to you.
Especially considering that you're an ogre, you can be at full health by the time they get back to you.
And then you can eat that pill of teleport, and you're good.
Again, you're going to be PK more closer to the ogre than you ever would to area, in my opinion. And it's a path, so I mean it's kind of a direct lead there, as where like Aurelie said in the chat, area has basically a maze to get to it.
It's not really a maze. I mean, it's a confusion of rooms, much like the Blasted Plains, but that's about it. Once you figure out where you're going, it's easy.
I mean, can't we just plug it in somewhere else?
Okay. Confusion rooms might be maze, but when I say maze, I think more like Shadow Grove or the rooms on the way to the Dune Sea, either at the top or at the bottom, where the rooms are just looped on each other.
Yeah, you could move it, or make it at least an area that is easier to get to, and there's not a maze. It's just a path that you follow.
Yeah, random exits is a pain in the ass, and that does cause for people to slow down. But I mean, yeah, maze rooms. It's once you get as Rago said, once you get the layout down, you're good.
Yeah. So, but there's no reason to go there now, right? Is there any reason to go to that particular area?
Only for the professional soldiers, and if you want to train anatomies there. Otherwise, no, there's no reason to go there. We could rip it out and not really be at a loss for it.
Or Glorium is the same.
Well, hang on. There's plenty of reason to go to Glorium. Let's not even.
Right now there is, in the fact that there's a plot line going on. But again, it's one of those areas where you can rip out and nobody would miss it. Literally, nobody would miss it, except for our Kogate duck.
Yeah, which is, hey, that's the best. That duck.
Yeah, so I don't know, but it would be cool to have that lore-wise, to have those towns or cities or villages, tribes, whatever. But as far as like PK-wise, it could be a nightmare, and I think that needs to be taken into consideration whenever we're talking about adding cities for races.
Sure, but I mean, you could plug one in. You could plug these cities in a practical, because everything's kind of on a linear, like from Miravor to Valmiran, and everything in between is kind of like all the hometowns are kind of like right there. Yeah, except for Merak. Yeah, so I mean, it wouldn't be. I don't think it'd be too hard to take a zone and just plug it in somewhere. So, you could just make a little like pathway leading up to it or whatever. However the hell. And plug it in somewhere a little more reasonable for talking about just adjusting them. I don't feel like that would be a ton of work to do, would it?
No, not particularly. I think it'd be cool to have like a feral city just off of the Forsaken Lands.
That would be cool.
I mean, that's where they're from, right? Not even a city, but maybe just like a few rooms, something small, a little feral village.
Yes. And they're like cooking like animals, people,
cooking scorpions,
whatever.
Like cooking scorpions.
Yeah, dude, you can buy scorpion meat. Maybe you could buy some scorpion Pop-Tarts and you eat them to poison yourself, kind of like an herbal brew secondary that you can get from the feral town.
Pop-Tarts?
Scorpion Pop-Tarts.
It's like a meat tart.
Yeah. Which is, a little more delicious than a sweet tart. You know what I'm saying? It's got like that chitin. How do you say it, Magic?
Chitin.
Thank you. Kind of like a glaze instead of the icing or whatever that a Pop-Tart has today. The internal filling is venomous, which will in fact poison you. But it'll be an edible poison instead of a drinkable poison like the herbal brew. So.
Yes, Grim does have something for Pop-Tarts.
Coincidentally, I'm eating some Pop-Tarts right now.
What flavor are your Pop-Tarts?
Frosted strawberry.
Okay, not a bad choice. That's a close second.
No. If it's
Front
if
runner
it's,
is, say it, brown sugar cinnamon.
no, s'more. S'more Pop Tarts are great.
What kind of a psychopath are you? S'more Pop
You,
Tarts.
you know what sucks is the fact that over here I can only get like 3 flavors of Pop Tart. I can get chocolate, I can get these, and I can get the chocolate and peanut butter ones.
Chocolate and
Ugh,
peanut butter.
gross.
What a god. Yeah,
So,
that's
so the
disgusting.
yeah, I mean it's horrible. I mean I can go to maybe some of the American food stores floating around here somewhere, but those are going to be outrageously priced, and I don't intend to go get them. No, I can't even get blueberry. It's a pain in the ass.
Sounds like that your parents need to bring you some
I'm having them bring
Pop
some.
Tarts.
I am having them bring me some, a box or two.
I'll tell you why the s'more Pop Tarts are the best is because they have graham cracker crust rather than the normal Pop Tart crust, which I don't really care for.
Do they?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, they do. I mean, because what is a s'more? You've got marshmallow and chocolate between graham crackers. There you go.
Yeah,
So
it's
graham
delicious,
cracker
dude.
pastry. I'm not a big fan, but you know, if you like it, you like it.
Would you guys say that Pop Tarts are breakfast royalty? Or
I wouldn't go
nobility?
that far.
No,
Hmm.
I'd say bacon.
Bacon.
Let's talk about the idea of royalty and nobility.
Nice segue there.
That was a much better segue than mine.
Much better segue than most of his.
So let's talk about it. I haven't seen a noble in a while. I don't feel like. You know, I've been running around. I hadn't seen that. What can you noble? What the hell? What is a noble exactly? It's like a mayor of a town, or like a what the hell is
No,
it?
you're just a nobleman of the town.
Okay, you heard it here first, folks. You're a nobleman
Yeah.
or woman of the town.
Noble person of the town.
But it has to be your hometown, or can you like change?
Yes,
You know, can you?
I believe it has to be your hometown. Yeah.
I mean,
What
it
if-
kind of goes without saying. I don't think you get anything special because of hometown, not like it was back in the day when you could, exile people. Can you still exile people?
Not to my knowledge.
Yeah,
I don't
okay,
know.
so-
I haven't
so-
seen it if you can, but there's only been one like royal since I've been back, and that was Serval.
Isn't well? You had Shahar,
Wait, was there another one?
Wada Wada, and then you've got Cyrus's royal too, isn't it?
That's to my knowledge. I thought he was noble.
Or is he just noble?
I don't know. Maybe there was one other royal. But yeah, typically characters don't stay around because you need noble before you can get royal. I think I've seen one time maybe that they skipped that, but
Oh, they went straight to royal.
I think there was a special circumstance there. But to me, like I don't like the noble and royal system. I mean, the premise behind it I think is awesome, but the problem is like tribunal, a certain sub-cabal and tribunal, it goes up through those ranks. So, and then they're the king. So it's like they're I guess the leader position is what, king?
High King.
High king, yeah, there you go. So like I'm like, what's the point of having the noble and royal if you have a high king tribunal as well? I never understood that. I think that they should change tribunal and make noble and royal mean something more. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
I was
another
wondering that. How do those two work with each other? You know, like how can you be a royal of a? Okay, like if you were a royal of a tribunal city, how does that work with tribunal? Does that because you don't have to be lawful to be a royal, right?
No, you don't.
How does that work with tribunal? You know, because like if, like I'm the royal of this city, you know, and it's like, well, I'm the tribunal. You know, like is that a? I don't know.
Well, yeah,
Really?
the tribunal should be kind of overseers and yeah, those type of people. Basically, a separate function, but a different branch of government. Whereas the robles would be nobility. You can kind of look at it in the aspect of maybe like England, how they have their parliament set up to where you have like the House of Lords and House of Commons, and the House of Commons would be kind of the tribunal, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Aurelie said that noble and royal should be lawful. I don't necessarily agree with that, simply because like you have royalty that doesn't follow the laws and that kind of does their own thing and that are evil. well, I guess the evil part doesn't really matter.
No, it doesn't.
But there are, nobility that break the laws and have no respect for the law. So
I am the law.
Yeah, I am above the law. Even what is the? So who has more authority over the city? The tribunal or the royal? Because royal sounds like I'm royal. That sounds like the tribunal should work for me at that point if I'm royalty over the city.
yeah, that's kind of the way I look at it. The tribunal is just like the
Governing body?
police. Yeah, they're kind of like the police, and
Well,
you
the
know,
adjudicator, sure, but not council.
well, council to me is more like
Royalty now.
no, just almost like military, where you have staff and you have commissioned officers and non-commissioned officers. That's what I've always looked at tribunal as, like your council is basically like your NCOs, your
They're your
commission.
pogues, right?
Well, your commissioned officers. I guess it wouldn't be NCO, non-NCO. It would be officer, and then you have NCO. That's kind of how I've always looked at it. And the officers make the policy for the tribunals, and the NCOs carry out the policy. That's how I've always looked at tribunal. Like I've never looked at them as a part of the government itself.
Mm. So
But I
who is
guess
the
they are.
government?
They make the laws. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the council is like the Senate or something. That's coming up with this crap. And the adjudicators are like the iron fist of the law. And it's like, where the hell do the royals fit into that? They can't make any.
Yeah,
Like what can you do as a royal?
it's a little kooky, in my opinion. I think the problem is there's not much meaning behind it. Maybe there could be if someone created a character and made some meaning. But I think presently the way that they are, I think that there could be better. They could have better purpose, I guess. At least that's my opinion on it.
Yeah, can't they? Yeah, you would think. Can they? Do you think a royal could rise up and ultimately like abolish like tribunals' reign from a particular town?
I think they should be able to. Yeah, I think they should be able to. Let's see here. Aureli said Royal and Noble Roble died with the city cabals.
They did. They really did.
What did the city cabals do?
They basically held control of the cities, much like the justice tribunal of old, to where they had almost complete jurisdiction over their cities, and they could exile you, and they could impose taxes and things of that nature.
So why did they get rid of them? I assume because it just conflicted with what tribunal was doing.
Probably. There was that whole justice revamp to tribunal, and I guess it kind of just merged into the two, which is why you've got adjudicators as nobility going up to the High King.
Yeah. So it sounds like to me that noble and royal needs to be kind of reimagined, if you will.
Okay, with what I was saying, yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was just the merger of justice and nobility to make tribunal.
Yeah. So I think maybe we should do some brainstorming, everyone, to maybe they can be made to something useful once again, rather than just kind of a cool roleplay tool.
I didn't know there were city cabals. That sounds really cool. Also, wasn't tribunal like supposed to be just like a makeshift militia for like a time being to like be there while justice was gone? I thought maybe one day the tribunal would like turn into something called like empire or something like that, and it would try to take over like every city and be a part of it.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what I had always imagined. I was ready for tribunal to shift from the pink tribunal to like the golden empire, and to be some kind of a cool like Romanesque like thing.
Yeah, that might be cool, but has not happened, at least.
It hasn't. Is that because no one's role played that into that point?
I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't around whenever tribunal or whenever justice became tribunal, so I don't know what the vision was for that.
Yes, you absolutely were. You liar. Because you've been playing this longer than I have, and I was here when
I have, but I haven't. I haven't played like consistently. I mean, I've left for a few years at a time, I just don't play Mud in general.
I did that. I did that for a while. Left for a while. Came back. Mainly during my first marriage. Whatever.
I actually played probably AR a lot more than I ever played FL.
Yeah, I was there. I had recently, I was new to FL when Justice still existed, and I remember when it fell and turned into Tribunal. Was where
I had. I don't recall if I had a character in Justice at the time. It was just before it went away. In fact, one of my first successful PKs was about that era. And I remember having a thief at that time who was opposed and trying to marshal forces to oppose the militia and the incoming tribunal.
really, that's a pretty cool stance to take.
Thief, yes, great.
Wanting to keep it the Wild West still wild, you know.
It changing like
Exactly.
that would be a good kind of role play segue, you know. It'd be
Obviously, the end result was my character's RP failed, but whatever. It was fun doing it anyway.
And you say it failed because the Tribunal was successful.
Well, yeah, Tribunal was coming anyway, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't fun to oppose it.
Which speaking of that, that's one thing with like plots that a lot of people seem to have a tough time with. Whenever they get involved in plots, they feel like they have to win. You know what I mean? And they get upset whenever they don't. I think that while it does suck because you put work into it, I mean, I think you should enjoy it for what it is and understand that maybe you won't actually, your side won't win, you know?
Taking a page from Dwarf Fortress's book, losing is fun.
Well, losing sucks, but
it's not true.
Well, no, losing can be fun. That's the whole point. Is you're
maybe
having,
it can be, but
okay,
it sucks.
It kind of depends on how you're going into it. If you're going in expecting to lose, then everything that you're going to have is fun. If you're going in expecting a win, when you lose, yeah, that's going to be heart-wrenching because you were expecting one thing and you got a different result. So go in expecting to lose, but hoping to win.
There you go. Pick Rocky, for example. Rocky got his ass kicked, but he fought all 12 rounds.
Yeah, and then he was really upset when he lost. So
Wow.
Either way, the point is he's a hero. You know, like you can still be a hero in the plot and be a legendary character in a plot, even if you weren't the victor, as it were, of the.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that. I think that it's the journey, not necessarily the result of the journey, as far as plots go.
Yeah, it also depends on how you look at it. I mean, you could lose, but you could win in the fact that you marshaled all these people in order to get some good storytelling going on.
Yeah.
Chalk that up as a win.
I just thought I'd mention that because it seems like it does suck to lose, especially whenever you spend a bunch of time on a plot and you feel like that your moves are better than someone else's, and so I get it, but I think that it should be more about just being involved rather than having things go your way.
Oh yeah,
agreed. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
There you go.
And it's like what the end game everybody wants is that character that people talk about. After it's gone, that's what they want. Because I know. There's certain people that'll get offended if you don't know who they played in the past or something, and it's like people want that kind of
recognition.
Yeah, recognition. They want to have that kind of FL fame, as it were.
Which I understand. I mean, some people live vicariously through their characters, and that's great. If that's the way you work, then so be it. And if you get your rocks off on people remembering you and whatnot, that's great too. Me personally, I have no problems with me and my characters fading into obscurity.
Well, I think it's kind of nice getting some recognition for a character that you put a lot of work in, and also there's a lot of memories that go along with certain characters, and it's nice to so many years down the road someone mentions your character and how fun they were, or how scary they were, etc., etc. it's nice to get those kudos. So I definitely don't blame anyone, but I think actually as staff, myself included especially, can do better about recognizing those characters and taking note of them on the forums. I think we could do better at that.
I was gonna ask that. Does the staff keep? Because I noticed there's like the Hall of Fame in the graveyard and stuff. Does the staff keep a record of who's doing what, like current characters that are doing stuff? Because that'd be cool to see, some I guess to kind of like make a character that is cool or influential, kind of immortalized in a way, either on the forum or in the game or something like that. That'd be a cool, like, permanent shout out to characters, that have, the work they put in and all that stuff. Does the staff keep record of that kind of stuff? Like,
No, not actively.
How does that even work?
Not actively. Typically, after a character's gone, if they made enough impact, then we try to contact the the player of the character and get the history and the description and all that. But that doesn't happen often enough. And I guess it's subjective though also. So there is that as well. I mean, someone might feel their character is worthy, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know.
But I think we know, like, characters in recent memory that probably might have a spot on there. Names that we remember. Names like Danfer. You remember Danfer? Everybody's talked about Danfer forever. Remember a character named Gordy Stravinsky? Remember the stink that caused? My gosh.
I know, but I mean, what are you talking about? Are you talking about the fact that everyone was saying it was overpowered, or are we talking about the effect that it had in game as far as roleplay wise? Because
I'll say this: Gordy got his props.
Gordy was a great character as far as lore and just kind of the atmosphere that he provided. I really liked the character personally.
Even though some of his notes were ripped straight out of Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, was it?
Oh God, yeah, dude. Some of the notes, yeah, absolutely. Like, some of them were actually like lyrics from that thing. I saw that. I noticed that, and I was like, you got to be kidding me, dude.
So we have to take a look at the impact on the game, and not from just a PK perspective because he had a quote-unquote overpowered skill, but also just from roleplay and overall impact. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's subjective. Some people might say he deserves it, some people might not. So it just, I guess it's really kind of up for the staff to decide.
Okay, like somebody like Agmeal. Agmeal is a good example. That's everybody knows Agmeal. That was an influential character.
Yeah, and I think probably Agmeal should be at least in the Hall of Fame or whatever. I don't understand quite why we have two things. We have like the Hall of Fame, and then we have something else.
The graveyard.
The graveyard. Yeah, I don't understand the difference between the two really. But yeah,
maybe that's something that
Agmeal should be in one of those for sure.
Yeah, maybe that can be something that's like kind of unified or something, to make it like one big, like, hey, these are legends of the game or something.
I think the graveyard was there just for anybody and everybody who's had at least a large enough impact. So I mean, you could put in people like Scree and Deacon and Purulent and a number of other people in there. Just anybody and everybody, but the Hall of Fame are the truly memorable ones, ones that stood out above and beyond. So people like Vulcan, for example,
or Martineus or Messalantha.
Yeah, I was gonna say Martineus or
Purple.
Purple.
Yeah.
Purple was around when I first started, and I thought that was like the coolest thing. I was like, this game is awesome. People like that. I mean, the fact that like Purple existed was like one of the reasons that I stayed in this game.
People like or characters like Purple pissed me off because I didn't think of it.
Yeah,
I didn't think of it.
So let's see. Who was the
same thing with the Selly.
Who was that? Sorry, Night Crusader. Leothar. he can be, for example, in the graveyard, but Dillery should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, so yeah, I guess that does make sense whenever we look at it like that. The graveyard is just for characters that have made some kind of impact, and the Hall of Fame is for the, the most memorable of characters. So, but yeah, I think we could do a better job at doing that.
Well, maybe that's something that can be looked at, like going into the future. Maybe you can make a note to the
yeah,
staff.
I think it just needs guidelines on.
Sure.
Should that be like a nomination? Should the players nominate? Should we open a poll and say, hey, these are the almost like the Hall of Fame is now?
I think that's a great idea. Occasionally have a poll. Remember when we used to have the monthly polls of who was the best, in class? Remember those?
Yeah, I know. Those got kind of sad because we don't have enough players, So
On
half
top
the
of that,
slots were empty.
Yeah, and on top of that, people often voted for themselves, or it seemed. Or even if they didn't, everybody thought they did.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's okay. I don't mind that. But I think that maybe we have a monthly poll of the top PK or top role player. I mean, we could do that. I mean, just to give someone,
I do like
kind of incentive.
I do like the Hall of Fame or whatever kind of nominations. Like every, it could be a yearly thing. Have your yearly Hall of Fame candidates. And
have it during Halloween Madness.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, make a thing of it, and then maybe that'll bring people out of the woodwork too to kind of come together. Because some people might come back for Halloween Madness and they can be a part of the ceremonial, Hall of Fame nominations.
There you go. Something like everybody goes into the graveyard that was influential, and then that's the pool of nominees for Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He picked 3 to 5 people.
I think that's a great idea. Rygo, will you share that?
Are you asking me to champion this cause?
Yes, dude. You're the people's champion.
The people's in.
Yeah, dude. You gotta speak. You gotta speak for the players, dude. Speak for us, man. We need you.
Yeah, don't get dramatic on me.
I've been dramatic on you, and I'll continue to be dramatic on you.
Dramatic, period.
True.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
So, I think that's a cool thing. That's a good idea. Good ideas all around. I'm gonna give everybody let's give ourselves a round of applause. Let's clap.
Do we get a gold star?
Yeah. Are you guys clap? Will you guys clap, please?
No.
No.
All right. Well, whatever.
That was awkward.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, it was awkward because you guys didn't join me in clapping. You left me here clapping.
It would have been even more awkward if there's 3 of us in 3 completely different locations all clapping.
That's unity across the map. Try map, try clap. Let's do it. Ready? Go.
Go.
All right. Whatever. On that note, guys, thanks for listening to the Forsaken Podcast. We hope you enjoyed what you heard today, and we'll catch you again next time. Have a good one.
Take care.
Good day.